Welcome to Shop Talk New Mexico, where we shine a light on the businesses and people shaping our state. Today, we sit down with Alonso Cano, the founder of the Shroomery New Mexico, a unique local spot dedicated to mushroom-infused drinks that are as healthy as they are delicious. Alonso's journey started in the cannabis industry, but after several concussions, he discovered the power of mushrooms for brain health. What began as a personal experiment grew into a business built on resilience, community, and education. Join us as we explore his story, vision, and passion for mushrooms. Okay, so we're here at the Shroomery New Mexico here in Albuquerque, and I have with me here Alonso Cano, the owner and the operator. And we're going to be discussing mushrooms, not the kind that a lot of people think of, but we're going to be discussing mushrooms as a health and wellness aid. So Alonso, you started in medical cannabis, is that right?
Yes, I did. I was medical cannabis before it was recreational here. I started off as a bud tender. I've moved my way up to the garden, and then I started doing deliveries throughout the city, delivering cannabis, dispensaries, picking up, and so on and so forth.
Great. So I know this may seem like a silly question, but if you were going to go into business for yourself, why mushrooms and not
Cannabis.
and not cannabis?
So at least here in New Mexico, cannabis is very oversaturated. When it became legal for recreational sales, so many people jumped on the wave, and there's too many dispensaries at one time. So not enough. I didn't want the competition. There was just so much. And when I was in the cannabis industry, I learned about mushrooms, specifically lion's mane. And I kind of fell in love with mushrooms while I was on the job through cannabis. So just learned about more herbal ways to consume and get healthy as well.
So your interest in mushrooms has to do with the health benefits.
Yes, specifically when I first got started into it, it was the benefits of lion's mane and the nerve growth and repair that it does for your system and brain specifically. Just because me personally, I've had around 7, 8 concussions. I've cracked my head 3 times in my lifetime. So I've done a lot of damage up there. And one of my coworkers that worked at the cannabis garden, he had just gotten, or not just gotten, but he went through brain surgery and trauma. So he was taking lion's mane on a daily basis and recommended me to him because I told him about what I go through and the little fog memories and just the headaches I get out of nowhere. And lion's mane was the best way to do it. I just didn't like the way mushrooms taste. So I found a little different alternative to consume without getting the taste of the mushrooms.
Wonderful. So you've altered the recipe a little bit to make it more palatable.
You could say that. I found different forms of ways you can consume mushrooms. People could do either dried, freeze-dried, powder. The way I found best and most potent was through tincture form. Tinctures are extracted from the mushroom itself. It's usually done with ethanol and water, and it's a triple extraction process, right. But it's very powerful. You don't need much to honestly double your dose than you can with powder.
I see. So it's kind of like a tincture of lion's mane or tincture of, what is it, reishi?
Reishi.
Mm-hmm.
Reishi. I didn't first start off on reishi. Reishi I learned once I started getting into more of the mushrooms. I was first doing the lion's mane tinctures. I would put them in different drinks just because I didn't like the taste. And what I found best with the tinctures I went through was tea and lemonades and different types of flavors that kind of overpowered the taste, but you still get the benefit.
So tell me, the farmers markets. How has that been as far as shaping your business model for starting your store here?
Really, the farmers markets is how it all started. I was making drinks for myself and coworkers. Um, then our dispensary, they were California dispensary, and like I said, we were there when it was medical. When it went recreational, they gave us a 4 week notice saying that they were going to close all of our stores down, all of our locations, gardens, and that they're packing up and leaving in Mexico, basically.
So you were out of a job.
Yeah, I thought we had 4 weeks. A week later, after they told us that, I was in the middle of a delivery. They called us up and said, "Hey, close everything down. You guys are done working at home." And so, yeah, it was even sooner than we expected. But once that happened, I kind of figured working for someone else is kind of unreliable. You don't know what's going to happen. Nothing's in your hands. You're just paycheck to them. They just give you money to do the dirty work. So that's when I decided to turn my drinks into something that I can make profitable for myself and also help others, because I know there's a lot of people out there that want to benefit from mushrooms. They're either scared because it could be everyone thinks it's psilocybin or because of the taste. Have a particular taste that some people do like and some people don't. And that's how it kind of all started. For selling through the farmers markets, it was exciting and nerve-wracking at first, just but what system I would use at the farmers markets, how kind of drinks I would bring, how they would do in the heat, stuff like that. So I just got all the equipment I thought I needed and started going to the farmers markets, started looking around New Mexico. Facebook was a very beneficial help for that, just because a lot of people post their markets that they want vendors to come join. And so I just started messaging all kinds of different people, seeing if they have available space for me to go for that weekend. And I just learned as I went. I needed more equipment, got that. Once I started getting the hang of things started just becoming simple after that. And it just kicked on. A lot of people were interested just because it was something new that they haven't seen. They've heard of mushrooms, they've gotten fresh mushrooms, but mixing them with drinks and actually making them tasty and refreshing, it was new to people. And so I was glad I kind of brought that out.
Right. I was going to ask if how much feedback from customers played a role in how you established your business.
The feedback when I first started at the markets was actually a lot better than I first expected. A lot of people were confused and interested at the same time. A lot of people were scared just because they thought it was psilocybin mushrooms. I get at least multiple people till this day. Even in our store, we have a no psilocybin sign, but they still come thinking that we do psilocybin. But the people don't realize that there are other mushrooms out there that are just as beneficial as psilocybin, that won't have an effect, a hallucinogenic effect. And you can just go about your day feeling better about yourself and about your health, knowing that from these mushrooms. At the markets, it was a big hit just because the drinks were really tasty. People couldn't taste the mushrooms. That's what I was so shocked on, because people were surprised. They thought it was just gonna be like bitter, earthy mushroom taste drink, and seeing the look on their face or seeing their reaction to after they drink it, being like, "Oh wow," or being like, "Oh wow, that's actually good." It rewards me, it makes me happy knowing that they enjoy something that I create.
Well, I've never tried it. I'm looking forward to trying it. Your personal story is rooted in the benefits to the brain.
Mm-hmm.
How do you balance that with educating about the broader aspects of health benefit from mushrooms?
So the reason why I explain the brain is because that's what I needed it for, and what I was first consuming it and wanting feedback from was, my nerve repair growth and a lot better memory, just feeling less anxiety throughout the day. I didn't learn about the other mushrooms until I started doing more research after I was taking my thing for a little bit, and knowing that other mushrooms had different effects to the body and to your health and to base overall wellness. And when I found that out, it was just like a mind blowing thing. Like, found out that cordyceps is great for energy. Didn't even know cordyceps existed. It's kind of a funny mushroom because a lot of people see it in The Last of Us, and The Last of Us is a zombie movie where a mushroom takes over its host and affects the person, turns them into kind of like a flesh-eating fungi.
Oh well, that's kind of not real good publicity.
Yeah. It threw people off on cordyceps, especially at farmers markets. People will see cordyceps and be like, "Oh, is that the mushroom that turns you into a zombie?" We would joke around with them saying, "Get immune now," you know. But in reality, they use that mushroom just because in the real world, it really does take over insect host. You know, it could take over ant, a spider, infect it, kill it, and then that's when it sprouts it blooms its mushroom. You know, that's what cordyceps does. But the benefits from cordyceps are tremendous, especially for energy, performance, even for sexual performance. It's beneficial.
That's good advertising.
Right, right. A lot of people will like that.
Yes.
But I did have a customer that came in, and like I said, you could always be learning about new things on mushrooms. A lady informed me that she's been taking cordyceps for 10 plus years for her allergies. And that was new to me. I did not know that. She says it's the best thing for allergies. And I thought it was just for energy. So there's a lot of different ways that mushrooms could benefit people.
So your business is here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Mm-hmm. How does the mushroom business culture surrounding mushroom? How does it mesh with the southwestern culture that we see here?
The culture here in New Mexico, I would say, is very tight. We're a very cool local community. A lot of us stick with each other, especially in the mushroom aspect. A lot of the farmers know each other, talk to each other. If they're short on mushrooms and they need supply, the other ones help out. So the mushroom community here is amazing. I love it. I didn't even know it was like this until I got into it. They all are super friendly. They know their information. They're great at growing. Um, so it blew my mind when I noticed that, because when knowing the amount of people here, specifically in Albuquerque, and the amount of farmers that grow mushrooms come out here, they don't see really one another as competition. You know, they help each other. They try to keep the mushrooms here and the farmers local. They don't like outsourcing to big companies, and they want to keep it local here for the community. I think it's cool and needed because there's a lot of big companies out there. When it comes to mushrooms, they kind of cut the corners and don't do everything as necessarily as good, you know, as it comes from local here, especially in New Mexico. I believe we got some of the top farmers. There's some really good at ones out there. As far as it connecting to the Southwest, New Mexico is all about herbal medicine, you know?
Herbal, spiritual,
Yeah,
all of that sort of thing.
When it comes to New Mexico, we are very, very wanting to be one with Earth, you could kind of say. A lot of people here consume different types of herbal products for their health. A lot of people here just like to be outdoors, venture, hike. There's so many cool spots out here to find mushrooms. You have a lot of foragers. So the Mexico culture and mushrooms are really connected in a way that most cities are. Not most people here just think of it as profit. It's the way of life, you know, earth, stuff that's grown, that's meant for us, and some that aren't meant for us, you know. So there's some mushrooms out there that could do some damage, but there's a lot of them out here in New Mexico that people find and share with each other, teach each other on where to grow or how to grow or where to find them. So New Mexico and mushrooms are really connected. So it's really awesome to see.
Well, one thing that I've noticed in the New Mexico culture is it tends to lean towards holistic and complementary type healing.
Yes.
And it seems like, from what you're telling me about the health benefits of mushrooms, that falls right in line with that culture.
Yes. So especially here in New Mexico, we have a big culture with when it comes to holistic, especially psilocybin mushrooms. They're very people here find them very beneficial just because, especially at a microdose level, just because it can be very beneficial. It helps with PTSD, helps with different types of emotions or pain that you're going through. And here in New Mexico, people rely on that. You get a lot of, especially the older folks. I feel like they know about it more than the younger crowd. To be honest, you get a lot of older folks out here just wanting to use that type of mushrooms as medicine, which is it's there for. It's here to help us, and they tend to benefit it more than others here in New Mexico, I would say, because there's, like you said, there's different types of cultures here that sometimes it's part of the religion, it's part of people's way of life. Mushrooms are not even just the psilocybin. Mushrooms are some people's way of life out here, and it's cool to see.
So, from a historical standpoint,
Mhm.
how does is how do I ask this? Is mushrooms as a remedy, as a wellness treatment,
Mhm.
is that something that's fairly new on on the scene, or is that something that's been
So
around for a long time?
New Mexico, we are a decriminalized state for mushrooms, psilocybin. You're allowed to use it for personal use, but they are talking about putting it into effect where it will become legal for therapeutic use, which people tend to get mixed up, thinking that it's going to go kind of like how cannabis is with recreational sales, where you could just go into a dispo, buy it, and then leave. When it comes to mushrooms and psilocybin, on how what I've learned and heard from New Mexico is that they're going to turn it into a therapeutic setting. So you would have to go in there kind of with a therapist or a guide. Some people call it like a shaman, and take it with them. And then once you're done with your say trip, you're able to leave and go about your day.
That's
Which
kind of like the old opium dens that they used to have.
yeah, sort of before the war on drugs happened.
You go to an opium den. You'd smoke some opium, and then when your high was over, then you got to leave.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. So basically, yeah, it's monitored, controlled, which I agree with. Just because when it comes to psilocybin, people can take it as a party drug, which me personally, I don't see it that way. It should be consumed as medicine, as something that's gonna help and heal you. And here in New Mexico, a lot of people also see it that way. One, and that's why I think they're trying to push it to where people, especially veterans, start taking this kind of therapeutic setting with mushrooms just because of the effects it has on PTSD. They've done a lot of studies on, like, I want to say humans, but rats and mice and stuff, and saw the effects that it has happened, and it's just all positive. And unfortunately, here in the United States, a lot of FDA rules and regulations kind of prohibit us from doing studies and finding out more of the benefits that we can.
I was going to ask, where does the FDA stand on this
So,
from the standpoint of research?
So, as a research, FDA are okay with most of the mushrooms that I use. At the beginning, I was able to use 6 mushrooms. I used chaga, reishi, maitake, lion's mane, cordyceps, turkey tail. Um, Now I'm only able to use 5 because FDA put rules and regulations on chaga. From my understanding, why they did that is because they found kind of what you could say medical benefits, and now they kind of consider it a medical drug. And since I am not a practitioner or a doctor or anything like that, I am not
You're
able.
not licensed.
Yeah, I'm not licensed. I am not allowed to put it in my drinks. I could still sell it like as tinctures, gummies, or however product, but I am no longer allowed to mix it into my drinks. And if they want to mix it, they have to do it themselves. So I could give them the drink and the tincture separately, but they got to do it. I am no longer allowed to do it, just with the mushroom chaga. So FDA doesn't really, in my perspective, they don't like mushrooms. They don't like us because mushrooms could be grown anywhere. Anyone could do it. Grow kits. If you're not really, known to growing mushrooms, grow kits are a great way to start. And they can't control it. You could grow around 2-3 pounds easily with grow kits. And that's just money out of the FDA's pockets for people who want health beneficial benefits without the prescription pills and all that the FDA gives.
I see. Going a little bit on the scientific end of things here. You've mentioned what the effects are on the central nervous system.
Mhm.
Are there any studies, or do you know of any effects that it has on the peripheral nervous system?
Not that I have. There's a lot of studies out there, and the ones I have read have not talked about the peripheral system much. When it comes to studies in universities, there's a lot, but not many, just because there's so many different mushrooms that. But I know for lion's mane specifically, it's not just the nervous system benefits. It helps with your anxiety, depression, your general mood, helps bring up dopamine levels, so that way your body's just in a good mood. Especially for people who, like me, have ADHD. Severe. I had ADHD. I got diagnosed with ADHD and dyslexia at fourth grade. Fourth grade. I was in fifth grade for 2 weeks. They found out and they put me back to basic. But they found out with mushrooms that it's very beneficial because of those dopamine rises. People with ADHD, because we're always chasing dopamine, it helps us. It helps us not always chase that dopamine. Helps us finally focus, come in one, I guess you could say, with our head because we're always at different places. Having different conversations with ourselves.
Right, right.
So lion's mane's great for just calming all that down, helping you focus, getting that dopamine that you need, and going about your day. So when it comes to mushrooms, there's just so many benefits that each one has, and a lot of them do the same. So it's kind of hard to say if I found one specifically on peripheral view, but
Well, the reason why I asked that question is because I'm very involved in an organization called the Facial Pain Association.
Mhm.
And I'm involved with that because my wife suffers from trigeminal neuralgia. And I know a lot of people that are diabetics who have diabetic neuropathies, numb feet, that sort of thing. And I'm wondering if there are any studies or anything that you have seen in your own personal experience that would suggest that that mushrooms, the consuming of mushrooms, would be beneficial for those conditions.
reishi. I would believe reishi would be a good one because reishi's very beneficial for people who are type 2 diabetes. And I found this out because my mom's type 2 diabetes. So when I started doing lion's mane, I started looking at different mushrooms. My take's another good one for type 2 diabetes. And when I started doing the research, I found out that reishi helps with the blood pressure, the cholesterol control, also helps with better sleep, And when it comes to reishi, some patients or customers say that if they're on their medication and they start taking these mushrooms on a consistent basis, they're experiencing like side effects because of both aspects of the medication and the mushroom. When it comes to personal experiences, the most personal experiences I've had with mushrooms is my grandma. Um, she takes chaga, reishi, and lion's mane on a daily basis, and she had a small uh, tumor on her neck, and for some reason, it did not affect her. She didn't have any. The doctor said that she would lose function in her face, or that she should have lost function in her face, shouldn't have been able to move it, or even basically talk because of how big the tumor was. It was right here on her artery.
Okay.
And the only way they found out about the tumor is she was in a car accident. And in that car accident, after, thank God she was okay, but she went to the doctors. They did her checkup because she just got in a car accident, and then they did a scan, and then they're like, "Oh wow, you got a tumor on the side of your neck that we need to take out immediately." And she didn't have any pain from it. Her face was fine. She was able to talk, move like it wasn't there, and they couldn't, for the life of them, figure out why. Why wasn't it not affecting her? And the only thing in my mind was because of the mushrooms that she takes on a daily basis. I don't know which mushroom it could have been. Some of them do have studies on tumor growth, on how it does help with like to reduce the tumor, or even with patients that are taking cancer. Um, FDA doesn't say that it helps with cancer. We can't say it helps with cancer, but in research shown it has helped reduce cancer cells in mice or small rats or neural intestines, and with the side effects of radiation. Um,
But you say it does pose a risk of interacting
with medications.
with other
Mhm.
pharmaceuticals.
Yes, so when it comes to pharmaceutical medication, if someone is taking it regular basis and they want to get into mushrooms, I always suggest them to speak with their physician or doctor, just because you might want to wean off the pharmaceutical drugs first before you go full on to the mushrooms, just because it can counteract or be too much at once. Just depends on the person on what they're specifically trying to go for. They do say especially for blood pressure patients who are trying to either lower their blood pressure or anything like that, that if they're on blood pressure medication, do not consume mushrooms because it could cause it to go too low.
So your testimonials on your website say that you're super cool people, and you've been described as a gem. How do you foster this kind of warmth in your customers, and how do you build personal connections?
Honestly, when it comes to reviews like that and the people, I just be myself. I love, not love, but I enjoy people's company. You have a lot to learn from people. Everybody has a different story to tell. I'm not always in a rush to push people out. I'm always down to talk to them. I treat everybody the same. Doesn't matter who you are. Just people are amazing. You know, a lot of people on this world have anxiety or don't like talking to people. Me personally, I find it the greatest because you can learn the most when you learn and just sit back and listen, hear people talk. A lot of people love to talk. They want to tell someone a cool story that they went through or something that happened during the day. And sometimes you just got to let them talk, let them get that emotion out, let them get their words out, and they feel better about themselves. You feel better just because you heard either a cool story or you learned something new from somebody. Um, every day is just a chance to take in knowledge, and the way I find I get the best knowledge is sometimes through people. And I don't know, I've always been a pretty cool, nice guy, I guess you could say.
Right.
Um,
Well, we can see that.
yeah.
Okay.
But no, yeah, people are just awesome, man. This world, I think, needs to look at it differently. They need to accept one another for who they are and just learn, just grow. If you don't like somebody, then who cares? It doesn't matter. This world is here for enjoyment. We're here to enjoy and live together, and that's how I treat my customers.
Exactly. Exactly. So you've been in this location only for a couple of months now, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Okay. Is this your first brick and mortar location, or
No, we did have a previous location for people here in New Mexico. It was on Eubank and Candelaria. But we were there for about a year, um, and then we decided to move locations. That first location was just a really hidden location. No,
let me guess, you were at Scottsdale Village?
yes, Scottsdale Village. It's you had to drive into the parking lot to see any stores or what even
Sure.
stores or what stores are in there. It's no storefront view. People on the street driving from traffic just think it's a random parking lot.
Sure.
GPS, it was even hard to find us. So we just decided to move that location. It was a spurt of the moment with that location. We were kind of like, hey, let's turn this into a storefront, a brick and mortar. Let's People are asking if we have a location. Let's give them one. And so we found what was affordable at that time and the quickest, and it did well from word of mouth and marketing, but any foot traffic was just really not there. And so after our year lease came up, we decided to move to a storefront, and this location has just been turned amazing. We've probably tripled the amount of customers we get on a daily basis. So it's just we've been loving it. When it comes to location and business, they aren't kidding that it's the most one of the most important things that you do.
Absolutely. Well, from a business standpoint and location,
Mhm.
I can tell you that the Yeller Sub next door,
Mhm.
I used to go to that place when I was in high school over 45 years ago. So that place has been very successful for a very long time. So
Yeah.
the location is definitely a good one.
Yeah.
Montgomery is one of the most uh,
Busy
busy streets
Yeah.
in the state.
Mhm.
And so you get a tremendous amount of traffic by here, and I would hazard to guess that your walk-ins have been increasing steadily since you moved in here.
Oh yeah, tremendously. Our walk-ins. A lot of people just say, "Hey, I saw your sign," because now we have a big old LED channel lettering sign that lights up at night. And people would come in saying, "Oh yeah, I was driving by and I just saw that sign. Had to come check it out, see what it is." The name is very eye catching to people. It makes people want to come in. It makes people like think, "Oh shoot, what's that? That sounds cool. Let's go check it out." And it's been amazing. Like, just get on a daily basis, we get at least 10 new customers that come in wondering what we are, what we do. And I find that enjoyable because then I get to explain to them what we do and who we
Sure.
are. And I find enjoyment in
So you've taken a lot of knocks, both literally and
that.
figuratively,
Yeah.
from your concussions as well as your loss of a job. What lessons have you learned that have carried you through in building a business?
I'm still learning lessons. When it comes to building a business, so it's hard to describe. The amount of lessons kind of just depend, I guess, on what business you're in and what you're doing. But they all generally kind of go back to the same old thing. What's new for me is all the paperwork, all the legalizations I have to get, all the different types of certifications I have to get. That was mind blowing to me, just because it was new. Like, I've never been to the state office so many times in my life until I got a business. Never have I written so many receipts down or gone through so many different numbers just to figure out the same number that I thought I had. Um, but it's a when it comes to your own business and building a business, it's every day's a learning curve. Every day you're learning something new. Every day you got to figure out a problem that you didn't have the day before. It's just interesting, scary, and fun at the same time. You kind of say, I don't have to listen to no one. No one has to tell me to do this or that. But now I have to tell myself to do this. I can't just wake up one morning and feel like I can't do it today.
It takes a lot more self-discipline.
It does. It takes a lot of self discipline. I don't remember the last day I had off. Like, when you're not feeling well, you've got to come in and give it your all. When you're in a bad mood, you've got to hide those emotions. You can't show your customers your emotions through that, because then it reflects your business. There's just so many different things that you have to learn emotionally, physically, and mentally to start building a brand and a business. So it's a process, but it's definitely worth
It
it.
certainly is. Certainly is. We were talking about your former location over in Scottsdale Village. You know Mrs. Sprinkles.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, she's
Well,
a cool lady.
I interviewed Mrs. Sprinkles a couple of months back,
Mhm.
and so her video is on YouTube. So for people who are following my channel, Mrs. Sprinkles is one of those videos that you can watch. As a matter of fact, at the end of this video here, I'll put a card.
It's funny how you say that. I try to look up to Mrs. Sprinkles. I don't know her. I mean, I know her, met her, but don't know her on a super personal level. But as a business standpoint and how I see a business owner do, I think she's doing an amazing job. I try to teach myself on what she has done in her marketing, because we were at the same location and she has done so well with her marketing that the location hasn't affected her as much. But I mean, if she was in a storefront, she would probably be the top notch ice cream spot out here for sure. But with her marketing alone, and what she did for her business was just amazing. Especially in a hard location where she's at,
Sure.
she did great. So that's where you could always learn. Business owners learn from other business owners on how to do things.
Well, I can tell you one of her
Mhm.
one thing that she does that a lot of people. She's very heavy into social media outreach.
Mhm.
She's out there. She holds events. She streams them live. She does a lot of stuff.
I give her an amazing job on her confidence, because it takes confidence, time, and hard work to get to what level she's at. And I'm shooting myself, not shooting. I'm trying to reach myself to better goals to get to her level. I'm trying to get more confident. I'm trying to reach out to people more. I'm trying to get my social media presence out there. Big thing for me and my curve that I have to get over is confidence when it comes to putting yourself out there on social media. I'm not big on one to put my face and talk so much on the phone or through the camera and post it, but she does that at an amazing job level, and that's just confidence. Confidence she has in herself and is amazing, and that's what I try to reach every day, is getting more and more confidence so I could do it myself.
Absolutely. She has Instagram posts just about every day.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And she's out on Facebook
and that's her doing it, because when it comes to that amount of work, people don't realize the amount of hard work it takes to be that consistent on social media. She's doing well because that's a goal that every business owner is trying to get, is where she's at.
Right. Right. Yes, exactly. So, how does your mindset affect the way that you want to create the culture for a particular culture for your team?
So the culture I would like is one that kind of reflects on the reviews I get. I don't have any employees yet, but when I do get employees or a team, I would want them to be charismatic, upgoing, and very people like me. Because when it comes to storefronts, brick and mortars, I feel like this generation has kind of lost its touch with another. Um, People don't do as well as communicating with each other, showing their emotions with each other. Everyone's just straightforward. This, that, that. Okay, go, leave. I like to make a mark on people, and if I were to build, or when I do build my team, that's what I would really look for. People who would leave a mark on somebody, like, oh wow, that was a nice person. They were extraordinary today. I would come back here, or I would see them again, and that's what I feel like a lot of stores and brick and mortars are slacking, is that old school customer service where people are just friendly, nice, and they enjoy the time talking to one another, instead of just being like, got it, okay, go. You know,
Right. The future. Um, are you planning any expansion?
for Shroomery, I do hope to open another location. I do want to open not in Albuquerque, either Santa Fe or Los Lunas, just because Santa Fe I feel like has a great culture behind its herbal scene and art scene, and just everything out there is just all about nature and beautiful. Santa Fe is an amazing spot. And that would be one of my top priority goals, would be to get out into Santa Fe. People go out foraging in Santa Fe. People go out there just for the other herbal brick and mortar stores out there. It's just a really cool culture. That would be one of my goals, and to honestly expand into different business ventures.
So you're talking about possibly collaborating.
Possibly, you never know.
With other wellness.
Either collaborating, or I do want to start putting my drinks in production to where people could just grab and go, like at Whole Foods, different types of natural grocery stores.
Sure.
I think, I don't know if you've ever seen or tried them, but there's been a couple of different mushroom infused products there, like teas and drinks. And me personally, when I've tried them, they just are just flat out disgusting.
Oh, really? Okay.
They're just not good. They don't do a good blend. They don't add good flavors that pair well. Um, Me personally, I've always in my life been one to rather drink liquid than to go eat. I find liquid, like drinks, more pleasing than I do find food. So I feel like I know how drinks should taste. And when it comes to the mushroom drinks out there, they're very flat, bitter, just not good. And I feel like I could be that one to bring out something that's finally delicious and refreshing, but also has the benefits that your body needs. And that's where my main goal is to get, is into production. But there's a lot of hills to climb when it tries to get into production, from testing to different types of ways you could make. We make our tea, loose leaf tea, fresh brewed, and when it's brewed like that, it does not have a long shelf life. And so when you need to be in production like that, you have to add either the bad stuff that's not healthy, or not good for your body to make it more preservative, or figure out ways that you can creative and find that could help preserve your drink. And I just haven't figured that out yet. And that's my goal that I am working on is to figure out how to get these drinks into production so that way you don't have to just come into our location to enjoy a fresh mushroom drink. You can find them anywhere, take them home, easy, pop and go, can type of deal, you know?
Sure, sure. So something maybe freeze dried or something like that, where all you have to do is add water and.
So there's a lot of companies that do that. Freeze dried, there's some companies that freeze dry like a soup or something. And all you do is just add hot water, has the mushrooms already in it, fresh freeze dried mushrooms with all different sorts of other food products that you use in your soup. I'm not a big soup guy, but there's a lot of people already do that. My thing is just straight out drinks like lemonades, teas, refreshing, sure, delicious drinks,
sure,
that help benefit with, let's say, energy or relaxation, pain. Quite a bit of mushrooms help with inflammation. So just to bring out those products into a drink that is refreshing, delicious, and healthy. It's kind of like asking for the impossible when it comes to drinks, because it's either you either get a good refreshing drink that's not healthy, or you get a healthy drink that's not good or refreshing.
Right.
So it's kind of hard to combine the two, and that's my goal, is to combine the two.
So that's the goal.
Yes, yeah.
Get the balance.
Get the balance right, so that way I could put them into production. Because it'd be amazing to see our brand go into out-of-state stores, into the groceries. Colorado's a really awesome place for mushrooms as well, and to see our brand move from New Mexico to spread the love.
If you could tell the community one thing about mushrooms based on your journey and your vision for the Shroomery, what would it be?
Is don't be afraid of them.
Don't be afraid of mushrooms.
Don't be afraid of mushrooms. I say that just because going through this, you get a lot of people that are just, what's that? And the first thing they go to is psilocybin, magic mushrooms. But I feel bad for them just because since they think it's magic mushrooms, they're not realizing that these are regular mushrooms that people cook with, that they're basically the same thing as a portobello mushroom. Portobello mushrooms people find delicious, but they don't have no health benefits. These ones at least have health benefits, and they are delicious to people. Me personally not, but to a lot of people, they love to cook with these mushrooms. And a lot of people are missing out just because they think every single mushroom is going to be magic mushrooms if it's not portobello. A lot of people, if it's not portobello mushrooms, they think it's magic. And they're just missing out on the benefits, on the clarity, on the focus, on the energy, on the immunity. It's just mind-boggling that just because the society back when mushrooms were technically, everybody talked about them was because it was the magic mushrooms. I wasn't born in that era, let's say like the 60s, I would say, or it was popular, 70s, but everybody thought magic mushrooms because of them. And now a lot of people are starting to be, you kind of say, eye-opened to the benefits of all the others that aren't going to make you trip, but they are going to make you feel better. You know? So that would be what I would say, is just don't be afraid of mushrooms.
Fantastic advice. Okay. Well, we're going to leave it here. And it's been wonderful talking with you.
Hey, you too. Thank you.
I want to wish you the best of luck in your endeavors. And I'm looking forward to seeing the Shroomery blossom.
Yeah, hopefully you find a can in your refrigerator one day, right?
Yes, absolutely. Exactly. And for those of you out there, if you would please subscribe, and we're going to send you over to see Mrs. Sprinkles next.